Liverpool 2, Manchester United 2, and a much better team performance and result from Manchester United. We saw a side that were combative and competitive while still carrying an attacking threat. There was a lot going on in this football match, and today we're going to try and figure out actually what happened and why Manchester United were so much better than in recent weeks. Before we do that, if you could quickly subscribe to the channel, it would be amazing. We've got big goals for this year, so your subscription would be a huge help, and then we'll get into the video. So one of the big tactical factors in this game was that when both teams were looking to play the ball out from the back, they often had a +1 in the first phase. So what that means is, as you're looking to play out from the back with your goalkeeper, for example, Liverpool had 5 or 6 players sometimes, whilst United would only press with 3. And then up the other end of the pitch, United might build up with 4, whilst Liverpool only press with 3. So the team on the ball often had the overload. In the case of Liverpool, this was because they build possession with their fullbacks really deep. So what this means is that McAllister will drop deeper into a pivot often, and we're going to see Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson actually hold really deep positions initially in the build-up phase, which means as Manchester United press as the front three, they can be outnumbered and Liverpool can get on the ball. If we look at the other end of the pitch, it was slightly different. Initially, we did see moments where Liverpool would actually try and match up with the Manchester United back three like so. We would then also see a match up in midfield as well. However, the big problem for Liverpool was that they could get no pressure at all on our two wing backs. So even when the forwards were pressing in central areas, out wide we always had the free pass, and once again it means that you can get on the ball. And this is the very reason why in this game we saw both teams having spells on top. Neither side ever really dominated possession for large periods, and that was because again both teams had time in the first phase, and we play in a league where if you've got time you're going to get the ball. We can see in a clip like this exactly how Manchester United are going to find time for themselves on the ball, because initially it doesn't look very possible. We can see United in a 3-2 shape, but Liverpool have players in every single position ready to match up, ready to go man to man, and we can see this happen as the ball goes backwards. Liverpool take that cue to go and press higher up the pitch, man for man in these areas. But you'll notice halfway through pressing, Mohamed Salah has a look over his right shoulder and says someone needs to be marking Diogo Dalot. But no one does. No one does, and Lisandro Martinez has a really ball out to Dalot on the left-hand side, who can then carry the ball forward. This is why United were able to get into the game, because tactically, the wing-backs gave us a huge advantage over the Liverpool back four. And a lot of the reason this was possible was because the forwards are doing a really good job of pinning the Liverpool backline. You can see it again in a situation like this, now in the second half. Once again, United are clearly in a 3-2 possession shape, and Liverpool, again, not pressing man-to-man in this instance, but you can certainly see which players could go where if Liverpool wanted to be more aggressive. The problem is, Andrew Robertson at the top there has 2 players. He's got Ahmad, but he's also got Mazraoui, and he doesn't really know who he's meant to pick up. Now this is made even more confusing for him when United make double movements like this. So Ahmad moves higher towards Robertson, whilst Mazraoui drops deeper. Now, the movement from Ahmad is key here, because normally as Mazraoui would drop deeper, Robertson would just follow him, but because Ahmad goes higher, he physically can't, and again, as a result, United work the ball out wide with time and space on the ball. It's really good. Now, the result of this was that Manchester United were able to get into their sort of settled possession shape, which is very much the 3-2-5 shape. We know that is how Ruben Amorim likes to play. What I really enjoyed about the Manchester United performance was the fact that we saw confidence and composure and bravery and a real boldness to the way that Manchester United were trying to play. This was something that I was really crying out for in my stream before the match. United had to come into this game and be brave, take risks. This was never going to be an easy game. The big challenge was going to be mentally, but also technically, could we show the quality in the moments? And I think we saw that Manchester United could. In this game, there was a real technical security on the ball. Players like Lisandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes really helped this, because in tight situations, in difficult moments, they took extra touches, and they were that element of calm for United, and that spreads across the team when you play like that. And it did help United to get into these positions. And actually, once we've got into this settled shape, we know the benefits that the 3-2-5 creates. We know that we can create overloads in key areas of the pitch. For example, in the midfield, where I thought United were absolutely brilliant, but also on the last line. Now, the reason why United were able to create overloads on that last line is because we, of course, attack with 5 players, whilst Liverpool are defending with 4. 5 is more than 4, so we have the extra player somewhere. And again, what we saw from United in this game was technical quality to actually very often find that extra man. For example, the ball might be on the right hand side of the pitch. Let's say Mazraoui has the ball. Robertson is going to come across and Liverpool are going to squeeze across with their back four. We can see though, because United have the extra player, we're always going to have a free man somewhere that we can find, and this is something that United done really well. We got into so many good positions in the attacking third, and I'm going to put some images on screen now. If we could find the final pass or the final finish in just one of these moments, United could have very easily won this match. Killer instinct would have been huge in this game. If United had that extra cutting edge in the final third, I genuinely believe we could have scored 4 or 5 goals in this game, because we got into so many good positions on the ball. We just lacked that final bit. But in terms of the mentality, the bravery on the ball, particularly once we've conceded, we've had the setbacks, the players were still confident. They were still trying to play in the Ruben Amorim way. And I think that was a huge positive from this match. But I also think defensively it was alright as well. Now, from a defensive point of view, we have, of course, already discussed how there were spells where United were a little bit too passive, and as a result, Liverpool were able to get on the ball. Like I said, they like to use their fullbacks in quite a deep position, and the reason they're doing that is to give them more numbers in the deeper phases to get on the ball and try and overload the opposition. And they were very much able to do that in this game. With United pressing with a front three, Liverpool often had 5 or 6 players in these positions to cause the overload and move the ball forward through the Manchester United midfield. However, the important thing was, and this is a credit to Ruben Amorim and the shape that he uses, the important thing is the players are still relatively close to each other. The only time that I felt United were open was when the players got their timings wrong, rather than there being a structural issue. Largely speaking, the United players are close to each other, and what that means is that individually, you don't have to cover as bigger gaps. Now, one of the reasons why we were more compact defensively in this game was because it was less of a 5-2-3 and actually more of a 5-4-1. So the 2 wide players, rather than being up alongside Højlund, were actually more often tucked in with our 2 midfielders. Now, of course, there were still moments where Liverpool found pockets of space, because United are by no means perfect at the moment. We are still passive defensively, we do lack numbers in certain areas, and Liverpool are a quality team. Against everyone, they find space. But genuinely speaking, I think United did a pretty good job. I would say the only areas where Liverpool really regularly exploited United was in the wider positions, where, for example, Trent may have the ball on this side, and because we are trying to be compact, we're trying to keep our players close to each other, we do leave space over here on the far side, and Liverpool are a side that are more than capable of finding that space and then attacking. But a really important thing for United was, even when we were passive, even when we gave up territory, which in the long term I'm not a massive fan of, I should make that very clear, but even when we were passive, we were still compact. And as the ball did get switched, the right mentality was there from the players. We weren't lazy, we didn't just watch the switch, there was then an effort for the whole team to get back across. And what I really loved was that if Liverpool ever did try and go in the middle of the pitch, we were snappy, we were combative, we had a real bite in the middle there. Kobbie Mainoo put in some big tackles, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez could step in and do it as well. We won a lot of battles in the middle of the pitch. We saw right at the start of the video that we actually won more ground duels than Liverpool in this game, which I did not expect coming into this match. And again, that was due to the mentality and application of the players. The fact that for 90 minutes, it felt as though they felt confident. On the ball, we saw it. Technically, they were good. But I felt defensively that there was a better confidence. The players looked freer as they went into the tackles, if you know what I mean. They felt more confident going into those big challenges. They felt that they could go into those tackles and know that they've got their teammates around them there to cover them. And that was a big thing for Manchester United. Now, ultimately, the shape was still passive, and as a result, Liverpool did have spells where they would move forward. Liverpool, on another day, also probably score more goals. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that United put on a defensive masterclass, because I don't think we did. I think we've done a good job of limiting Liverpool. A lot of their XG comes from a penalty. Was it a penalty? Probably. It's a bit harsh on De Ligt. I don't know why his hand's up there. It's a little bit silly. The goal probably comes from an error from De Ligt as well. He just gets beaten too easily. But generally speaking, I thought United were okay defensively. I thought the centre-backs did a much better job than what they have done recently. And again, we've got to shout out Ugarte. The performance from him in a double pivot is just different level. It's still not perfect. I could pick out a couple of instances in this game where every concern I had pre-season was on full display. But at the same time, we also saw all the good moments that we spoke about before he signed. The way that he can jump from player to player to make the tackles, the way that he can protect the ball. I think he's absolutely crucial to this United team at the moment. Probably one of our most important players under Ruben Amorim right now. And again, that helped the centre-backs, who also had largely a good game. The box defence was solid. I think Onana done well with a couple of crosses. And all round, I think it was just a much improved performance. I think it's important that we don't get ahead of ourselves because ultimately it was still a 2-2 draw. We didn't exactly go win 3-0. So of course there were problems with the performance, but I think the application and the mentality, and I think it's that really in particular, the mentality of the players was really, really good. And also, I haven't seen anyone point this out yet, the fitness level of the players. We saw a lot of games last season where we would sort of collapse past 45, 50 minutes, sometimes even earlier on the 30th minute. In this game, we were right there until the 90th. Right there. And again, after Liverpool had scored, it would have been easy for us to collapse at 1-1, let alone when we go 2-1 down. But actually, the response was really good. There was a belief in the way that Ruben Amorim had set us up. Ruben Amorim went to a big game and stuck with his principles. And again, I think that's really key in terms of building confidence in the players in his system. So I think Ruben Amorim actually had a really good day. If only we could have got that extra third goal, because we really did have the opportunities to score the third. So it's a little bit disappointing that we didn't win the game. But ultimately, we know where we are right now. We know what we are as a football team. So to go to what many people feel is the best team in the world and go toe to toe, I think that's good. I think it's a good sign for Manchester United. It's a sign that the squad perhaps isn't always as far off as what you think it is. But as always in football, it's never as good as you think it is. It's also never as bad as you think it is. It's somewhere in between. And Manchester United currently are in that in-between ground. But this was progress. This was a good performance. Now it has to continue into next week. Until then, there's not really much we can do. So for today, we are finished there. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below who you think the best United player was and what you think Ruben Amorim got right, but also maybe wrong in this game. But apart from that, we finished. So thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.